Chicanos, how's it going, everybody? I just want to talk about. I never made a video about just. I made a video on the difference between being Chicano, Hispanic, and Latino, but I never just talked about being Chicano. What a Chicano supposed to be. And some of y'all don't look up your information and do your understanding. And some people think Chicanos is a cholo only from East LA, or they think someone who's a Chicano thinks that they're better than a Mexican born in Mexico, or that it's just some type of slang, or they just get their assumption of what a Chicano label is without doing their understanding. Now let's start off on what a Chicano is supposed to be. Chicanos is a representation of an understanding of identity. Actually, the real point is supposed to be a political statement of identity. Even Mexicans back in the day were not accepting the Mexican Americans, and so they were not even getting accepted by the Americans. So they weren't getting accepted here, they weren't getting accepted there. And it was an understanding. They understood that they were indigenous and they were so-called European, and that they were so-called American now from this side of the continent. It's an understanding of identity. They didn't start it because they said we want to be better than Mexicans born in Mexico. No, because it was putting our foot down. We're saying who we are. We're getting the understanding of pushing out our culture, our heritage, as being a new tribe. You could put a label under it, a new heritage grown on a new foundation, a new understanding. And so that's how Chicano started it out. Some people may say Chicano comes from Chicago. People that I've met from Chicago so far never even heard of the word Chicano, so to me that kind of eliminates it. Some people say it comes from Chico, being small, but the word everyone agrees upon that it does come off is Mexican. Chicano comes from Mexican, being Mexican, Mexica. So Mexicano, they started calling themselves Mexicanos when they came to what is the United States. And from Mexicano came Chicano, is what everyone agrees with and says it is, believes that it comes from. So being Chicano is not being cholo. It didn't come out of a bunch of cholos in East LA saying we're Chicano. No, it was people who had a thought, who wanted education, who wanted betterment for the community, who seen that they weren't getting accepted by being American, or being Mexican, and so they made a statement of their own, understanding of who we are as a new so-called tribe. You could put it as a new heritage. Not thinking it's up to an individual if they think, well, I'm better than them or not, but that's not the way it started. It didn't say because we're better than Mexicans. But that's what a Chicano is supposed to be, a statement of identity, someone who stands up for their heritage, for their culture, someone who is not afraid to take a stand. So I mean, for me, if you guys know, I'm a Chicano that's Americanized. I'm not Latinoized. I'm not your Spanish, Latino, Hispanic. For all of y'all know that. Some of y'all don't. I don't speak Spanish. I am an Americanized Chicano, indigenous person. So even for me being Chicano growing up, I've been told that I wasn't even Chicano. You're not Chicano. Only if you're second generation. You're already fourth. You're lost. You're not even Chicano no more. You're just American. I've been told I wasn't Mexican growing up. I've been told all that stuff because I don't speak Spanish, because I'm not your stereotype Hispanic, so-called Hispanic. And I got into a fight. I remember the last time in middle school I got into a fight. I was at this dude that I knew, white boy actually. I was at his party, and his Mexican neighbor friend at his apartments was saying, well, I'm not Mexican, I'm not Chicano, then because I don't speak Spanish, and I just got mad and I started fighting him. And I grew up with having a deal with that. So for me, getting an understanding, it's strong. It's all right. Now you're able to understand what labeling is, what the heritage is all about, what the movement was all about. So being Chicano doesn't mean being better. It's supposed to be a statement of understanding your identity. I understand my identity. Yes, I understand that I am a European, have European blood in me, which is Italian and Spanish, and 51% indigenous. If you believe in that stuff, some people don't believe in it, whatever, but even in that, I understand my identity as being indigenous now, as being a so-called, having that Latino in me, and being so-called American, being from this part of the continent, having to grow up here in this system. So I am Chicano. I'm always gonna be Chicano. Some people say being Chicano is not ever gonna be relevant. While it is in my area, Northern California, Chicanos is relevant labeled, but not like it should be. But like we said, Chicano, they also started promoting it because they started dropping the Latino and Hispanic label back in the 50s, back in the 60s on the US scenes. So being Chicano is an understanding of identity. You understand that you're indigenous, you understand that you're a European blood, and you understand that now you're on this part of the continent, growing in the system of America, the United States, to call it. So, I just wanted to share some of that, being Chicano. So a lot of people don't know what a Chicano is, or think they have an assumption, so I hope some of y'all understand that. Some of you guys don't call yourself Chicanos. I understand that, but it's because all of you guys didn't call yourself Chicanos for the wrong reasons. For some of y'all, I know you're all straight from Mexico, and like the Mexica movement, for an example, they stopped using Chicano and started using, the main example of being Mexica. So straight go to where the root of the word comes from, and that's understanding. But for me, my family's been here. My grandfather was Chicano, my mom's Chicano. My grandfather, who was an Apache Mexican, born in Tijuana, he always told us that we're Chicano. Yeah, we're Mexican, but we're Chicano. I'm Chicano. I don't really, when I say it in other videos before that, I don't really call myself Mexican. It's not because I'm thinking I'm better. It's because of a whole cultural understanding, a whole cultural heritage difference of growing up on the different part of the continent, on two different manipulations of countries. So that's why I'm Chicano. That's why I'm not always like saying I'm a straight yeah when someone says I am not Mexican. Well, I'm Chicano, and they can't argue that. They can't always say that I'm not Chicano. So you feel me? So being Chicano for me is just like being my own tribe of people. If we were here, we're indigenous. We honor the indigenous side. Yes, we understand we have white in us and we're mixed with whatever so-called heritage races or whatever, but we're here. We're Chicano. I'm Chicano. So peace out. I hope you got a little understanding. Leave your thoughts and comments.